Morning, Slater Youth families. Hope that you are all doing well wherever you are and whenever you are watching this. So, we're taking a little trip through the Old Testament here in our lectionary studies that Dr. Mosser is doing, and we're hitting on another one of those really exciting topics today. Israelite land management practices. Now, I know that probably just all of your attention just immediately perked up when you hear Israelite land management practices. And this is one of those passages of the Bible that kind of can seem a little challenging to a teenager. Like, what does this have anything to do with me? Because I'm not an ancient Israelite. Probably most of us don't work the land. I don't know too many of y'all that talk about what's going on with the plow and the horses and all the stuff that you're doing. I know some of you guys are involved in 4-H and learn some about agriculture. And anybody who is learning a little bit about agriculture knows that you have to let the land rest. You rotate crops. When I was a kid, we would always go see my grandparents who lived in Lubbock, and we would drive by all of the cotton fields and see all of the agriculture that goes on. It was a pretty common sight, watching how you would see a field that was planted one year and the next year you would drive by the same field. And I would remember that last year there was stuff here and now there's not. And so you would see that happening and people doing that. And this passage of the Bible talks to the Israelites about doing that, about every 7 years, letting the land have a Sabbath year, and every set of 7 years, having a Jubilee year where even more rest happens and more things are changed. Slaves are set free. People are given their land back that they might have sold to others. And it's this radical resetting of the economy. Now, most biblical evidence shows the Israelites never actually really did this too much in biblical times. And in fact, the warning to the Israelites if they don't do it is that the land will be rested if God has to force people to do it. And it's kind of this scary warning about what will happen. And ultimately, it did happen to the Israelites. They ended up going to Babylon in captivity, and the land got its rest while people were gone. A lot of the people were in captivity. And I think that's the key to a real message to us in 2020 America, where we have, not a strong connection to maybe the land, and we spend most of our time inside or at school or doing our homework or checking out the newest things on TikTok. And that's the principle of rest, that it's sort of baked into how things work, that whether it's people, whether it's the land, whether it's our economy, things are not meant to be used until they break, until they completely fall apart. And I've seen that happen to some of us, where we work so hard and we push ourselves to the limit that we find ourselves breaking. In our current youth study, we're talking about stress and anxiety, and that's why we're sort of learning about how to deal with it, because God put rest as part of our existence and as a command to us for a reason, because he knows we can't work that way. And that's really something we should look at in our own lives. How are we learning to not just take a few minutes here and there, but truly take time to rest, to take a full Sabbath day where we don't do much of anything, and realize that that's okay. And I think there's a little bit more to this as well. It's about rest, but it's also about taking care of the land that's been given us. And you may think as a teenager, I don't really have a whole lot to do with that. But one of the places we can make an impact in this is the things we purchase and buy and how we use our economic power. And the Bible talks about this some in this Jubilee year, how everything resets. And the reason it's there is to keep people from being poor, to kind of reset the economy. And we can make good decisions about how we spend our money. I know one of the things that I learned about probably when I was about your age, maybe a little later, is something called fair trade, that there is a movement of economy that is designed to help people get paid more for the things that they make for us from the land. This especially works in agriculture. In a lot of industries, the people who really make the stuff don't get paid. And by the time it gets to us, the cost doesn't reflect what the person should actually get paid for what they do. So there are organizations out there that help to work with farmers to sustain the land better and get more money out of what they do. There's a company called Equal Exchange. That's the one I heard about. And especially if you like coffee or hot chocolate or tea, these are industries in which a lot of people around the world don't make a good wage because they just don't. And there's a lot of people that kind of take the money. There's a lot of middlemen that work to take the money. And if you want to go to some websites and just look up about fair trade and see some ways that maybe you can influence around the world and in America, that people get a fair wage for working the land and that the land is worked in a more sustainable manner. So there's that if you care about that. But ultimately, it really is about caretaking, about realizing the gifts that we've been given, and learning to care for them well. So I hope that gives you some inspiration for maybe how to do that. Take a day off, take some rest, spend some time with God, spend some time with your family, spend some time recharging, and I bet you will find that your week will go much smoother, and hopefully it'll make you feel better. So thanks for listening. We will talk to you all soon.